TIFU by pretending to be asleep. I'm 25 meters and have been working abroad for the last 3 years, have a girlfriend, dogs and a cat back in the country I work in, and have decided to settle there for good. I returned home in April as my parents, both in their early 60s, were tested positive for coronavirus in the same month, and I wanted to help out with the due processes for treatment, although they recovered quickly it seemed. As if I was gonna be stuck at home as the borders closed initially, my parents and I didn't make it a huge deal, but rather viewed it as an opportunity to have a good family time. Since I was their only child, all good for the next half year, work from home. Girlfriend calls me every day. Parents love her. I managed to keep a job amidst a massive layoff. So far so good, right? As a wise man once said, all perks come with a clause, and this time it was me becoming retrospective of how I had a tough time through my parents' midlife crisis, during which they didn't know whom to blame for their unfounded woes, and ended up pointing the finger at my teenage angsters away. To elude this looming distress in my head, I challenged my parents to a session of rummy after dinner, a casual activity we did as a family when I was young. Nevertheless, this only exacerbated my thoughts on familial grievances one goes through as a teen, and we couldn't keep ourselves from exchanging words regarding whose fault it really was that they almost got divorced a little under a decade ago. Jackie D's on ice in our hands didn't help either. At a certain point we realized that we were all drunk and it would be best for us to retire for the night, and so we did. But not without the last act of slamming our cards and stumbling our way out of the kitchen. I walked out to the porch for a smoke while my parents were still in the living room. Knew this because I could hear my mom sobbing entering the house. I decided to sleep in the couch itself as my room was upstairs, and I didn't wish my life to be as anticlimactic as falling down the steps to break my neck. At this point I had thought that both of them had gone to bed in their ground floor bedroom, so I fell flat on the couch. To my surprise, a full 10 minutes later I heard whispers behind me, whispers in my parents' voices by the fireplace, and it sounded remorseful of mistreating each other and feeling sorry for each other. I let them be without disturbing them, because I thought I owed them at least that much, so I ensured not to disturb their moment by making it known that I wasn't asleep. My mom, seemingly playing the sympathy card, somehow turned the conversation sexual, and next thing I know they were getting undressed right behind me. Even then, a cautious prick, that was my dad, hesitated and clearly mentioned my name, but my mom assured him, wrongly, that I had passed out, since I hadn't apparently answered a call on my vibrating phone on the coffee table by the couch. Mom, no, I couldn't stop the inevitable, and it happened. My parents had sex in the same room that I was in, and I could have even wished to have died instead. I couldn't take it at one point, and the alcohol in me found its way out as I hurled my guts out on the coffee table while they were still on the F train. After this, I heard them scurry their way back to their bedroom and the bedroom's door shut. That's when it dawned on me that I wouldn't have broken my 5-year-long non-puke streak had I simply answered to my dad's beckoning, or even, as my mom said, passed out. Woke up in the middle of the night, cleaned up my mess, and walked upstairs to my laptop to type this story while still being drunk, so excuse any error. My worst fear is reading another story in this subreddit from a parent's perspective on how they ducked up by having sex literally behind their son. I don't even know if either of my parents has a Reddit account. I do not wish to know, certainly not that way. TL. Doctor got drunk and pretended to have passed out in the living room while parents were having sex by the fireplace, causing me to spew on the coffee table. Every now and then I read one of these and actually feel bad. Jesus dude. Dear Lord Jesus hopscotching Christ. I'm so sorry you had to hear/witness that. Opus. Let yourself fall into the drunken stupor you were supposedly in at the time. Forget. Erase. Get therapy if you can't forget or erase. The TL doctor is very concerning. TBH, it's your parents. Duck up. You did nothing wrong. How can they start going to Pound Town near you when they have the rest of the house free? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's normal that they have sex, and I'm really looking up to them that after all these years they can show physical affection. But Jesus man, even though you are their kid, show some privacy. It doesn't matter if you were or weren't asleep. It's kind funny though, teenagerish attitude. If I would be in your place I'd act normal the next day like nothing happened, but when you get the chance remind them that the duck train to Pound Town almost left with 3 people Ah yeah. It indeed is petulant of them to worry less about the consequences for their age. But in their defense, they too were drunk, and also, I could have avoided this any time, since I knew beforehand what exactly was underway. Moreover, the fact that it was my mom maybe even plays into the fact that soon after menopause, there seemingly is a surge in libido. IDK. I could be wrong. I'm just happy that something so trivial, yet etched in memory, broke the tension that was brewing earlier. Speaking of which, we made up over breakfast and I acted as if I didn't know shit. We are good now. Thanks for the concern. Gotta add some paragraphs, but damn, that's a good story. At least your parents still love each other very much, and often. I can commiserate. This traumatizing shit stays with you. I was 15 when me, my 8Y/O brother, and my parents went on vacation. We shared a single hotel room with 2 double beds. Parents slept in one bed and my little brother and I in the other. One night, my parents must have thought my brother and I were sound asleep, and went at it in the bed right next to us. I was awake the whole time, and was so grossed out by the situation I pretended I was asleep the whole time and just tried to block out the sounds. But the harrowing memory has stayed with me all these years. If there's a top 5 list of things in life one should not bear witness to, #2 has got to be your own parents ducking. 2 things. 1. Did you by any chance get another sibling within 9 months of the incident? 2. What's #1? Question mark? This is one of the best since I've been here. At times TIFU feels like if green text was literature. You fool. Why not just pretend to wake up groggy? When you're drunk, you're too drunk to act drunk. Imagine them having read it. I can't breathe. I have to be honest with you. You parents haven't really won me over. They sound less than respectful of you. First blaming you for their issues and then this. Literally one of worst stories I've ever heard. Naturally disregarding things like bugs to the eyes or genocide. They need to sort out their crap and realize that from the day you were born you were your own person and they can't blame you for their issues or ignore. Not walk 10 steps to their bedroom instead of doing something that feels only at home in a weird 80s movie. Weird how far one needs to scroll to see someone questioning the parents blaming Op for their marital trouble. And Op seems to agree on it to some point. That's not healthy at all. I'm really surprised more people haven't picked up on it. Question mark? It feels like such an unhealthy dynamic. Makes me so grateful for having nice parents who don't bang with me in the same room. That part really doesn't feel like much to ask for though. Do you feel it now, Mr. Krabs? Oh no. This is everything. For someone who is drunk on Jack EDs and just hurled his guts out, I have to say that you are quite the literary artist. You really do have a way with words. You could be a writer. This reads like a bad porn story. That's 90% of this sub, unfortunately. Parents shouldn't blame their children for their bad marriage communication. That shit stays forever. It is not your fault. It is this. Go to your new home, buddy. Your parents' happiness is not your responsibility. You need to take care of yourself first. I accidentally walked in on my stepmom giving my dad a BJ. It was horrible. Scared me away from the act for many years. The house was all taking a nap, so I guess they thought it was fine. My youngest brother who shared a room with me had woken up, and if I recall correctly, vomited, which was the whole reason I went to get her. Over 5 minutes later she finally came to check on why he was crying. I pretend to be sleeping. I couldn't bear to look at her face/mouth for several weeks. I thought it was gonna be your girlfriend cheating or you or something, but no. This was better. Why would your parents duck with you right there? LMAO creepy. You would think the sight of their passed out adult offspring would be a bit of a mood killer. Mum, what are you doing? Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you enjoyed watching this video, leave your thoughts in the comments below.